Alright, hello, my name is Cameron for Swift Devs. Today we're doing a basic Hello World tutorial, and then after that we're going to kind of mess around with the Hello World app that we created, and we're going to turn it into, eventually we're going to turn it into a full app.
It's 1 o'clock.
It's 1 o'clock, guys. Anyway, we're going to go ahead. This is Xcode 6. Yours may look a little different if you're watching this in the future. You may not have this little beta icon right there. So I'm running 6.0. This is a beta copy right now, so I apologize if there's any bugs. And so let's get started. So right here you see your projects over here on the side, and you can open up other projects. You can get started with a playground. What a playground is it's a way for a developer to test the Swift language primarily. You can create a new Xcode project, and you can check out an existing project from some sort of repository. So we're going to create a new project actually. So you have all these options here. You have iOS and OS X. For iOS, we're going to be working in application, but I'm going to real quickly go through everything. Page-based applications is like you're using pages essentially to build, that's the kind of the entire thing you're working on. Single view application starts you with just one single window. You have to build off of that. A tabbed application starts off with 2 tabs and 2 different windows for the tabs. Very simple. To get you started on a tabbed application. An empty application contains nothing but a couple files of code, and you have to put in your own views. And then you have the game. Frameworks, you can make a framework, other in-app purchases, or just an empty project. And then you have your OS X, Cocoa application, game, command line tools, your frameworks, and built-in system, and other. But we're going to be messing around with the single view application. Go ahead and create that. I'm going to call mine Hello World Tutorial. So you have the product name, which mine is Hello World Tutorial. Organization name. Now because I'm with Swift Devs, I'm going to go ahead and put in Swift Devs. You can go ahead and do your own company. You can do your name, just whatever. And then organization identifier is usually the URL domain of the website, but reverse. So we're going to go ahead and do code.swiftdevs, and then it creates the bundle identifier to code.swiftdevs.helloworldtutorial. The language we'll be working in is Swift, and we'll be using the iPhone. Go ahead and click Next, and Xcode will generate all the files needed in order to begin your programming. First, you also got to create a place to save it, so we'll work off of that. Sorry, everything's being started up, and Xcode is loading, and voila, there we go. Like I said, still in beta. This is the first version of beta too, so yeah, it's got some work. Alright, so you see this is your settings screen where some of your main settings are, where your app icons, your launch images, stuff like that, your version. We're going to call this version 1, build 1. We're not really going to release this to the App Store, so it's not a big deal about the version name. Now if we do release it to the App Store, because I think it's just such a great app, then we will. But I don't think we'll be releasing it. So anyway, sorry about that video actually cutting right there, if you noticed. Yeah, so I'm using OS X Yosemite, oh my word, and it's a little buggy with the QuickTime. So anyway, so you have your bundle identifier, you have your version and build numbers, and then the team. You have the deployment target, which we're targeting iOS 8. You have your device. Your main interface is the storyboard that you're using. The device orientation, we need to mess with this right now. We're going to go ahead and go with portrait and upside down. Don't worry about landscape left or right. We'll mess with that some other time. So we're not going to worry with app icons or binaries or frameworks. We're just going to go ahead and we're going to jump right in. So in your storyboard, you have, click on your storyboard, go ahead and get into it. You have this view controller. Click the top of it and make sure it's selected all blue, and then go on to here on the side, and size, we're going to go with iPhone 4-inch, and orientation, portrait. This way, all of our interface that we put into here matches up on the simulator. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to do a label and drag it in, and voila, you just put a label in, and then we're also going to need a button for this tutorial. So essentially, this is a very basic tutorial where it's kind of giving you the gist of how just how the code works a little bit. I mean, it's very basic, but we're going to hide the label essentially. So the button name, let's just name it to hide label. And then label, go ahead, and as it is just a tradition to do a Hello World tutorial, name it Hello World. It's just tradition to do it that way for developers. Don't know why, it's just kind of always been that way. And I think it's kind of annoying actually. But anyway, so let's take a look here on the side. You have your app delegate.swift, you have your view controller.swift. The app delegate we won't really mess with. I've never messed with it in my life. Actually, there was one time I did embed an API, but I won't be getting into that today. We'll be mainly messing with the view controller.swift file, which is your code. And then you have your supporting files, which is just an info.plist. And then you have your test files, which I don't really mess with either. And then you have your products, your app, and then your test file. So very basic. In fact, pretty much from supporting files on down, we pretty much won't mess with. So go ahead, and up here there's this little, it's called the assistant editor. To me it looks like some guy in a tuxedo or something. And we're going to go ahead, open that up, and it has your code that you haven't really programmed yet. It's just kind of, this is just kind of some basic code that the system automatically puts in. So this override function viewDidLoad super.viewDidLoad is what this is let's say your app starts up and it starts up on this page. Whatever is in this area, whatever bit of code is in that area, when the app starts up, it'll commence that code, and it'll do whatever command is there. Now, the did receive memory warning. I've never messed with that. That's mainly for larger apps. We're doing a very small app, so you can delete that. Delete that entire section. So, and then the class view controller, UI view controller, that's just saying that the class view controller is the name of the Swift file, and then the UI view controller is the just telling what kind of controller it is. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to give ourselves a little bit of room here at the top, and we're going to drag our label right up to there, and it's a right click, and you're going to name it, we're just going to call it label 1. And then the hide label button, we're going to drag down here, and we're going to drag it down here, and we're going to turn it into an action, and we're just going to call this action. So there's two ways we can hide a label, and there's a easier way, and then there's a also pretty easy way to do this. We could create another function and embed it in the IB action, or we could just program it right into the IB action. So we're going to go ahead, and I'm actually going to go the harder way, which isn't that much harder, but it kind of gives you the idea of what a function is. So function is FNUC, and then the name of the function. We're going to do hiding label, and then you have to end it with those two parentheses, open up your quotes, and then you're going to actually code. And so you're going to label1.hidden equals true. Doesn't matter whether you capitalize it or not. But you have your code, and now in your IB action, you can do hiding label. Voila. And now if we were to do it the other way, is what we would do is we would take this one line of code and we would just put it right there in the IB action. But now that we have this little hiding label thing on the load, when the app loads up, if we were to move that up here to the view did load, it would automatically hide it. So we're going to go ahead and test this out in the iPhone 5 simulator to kind of give you an idea on what's going on. Yeah. So as you can see, there are no errors when starting up this file, and which is a very good thing. You don't want errors. And so one thing that I like about programming is leaving comments. Comments are 2 slashes followed by the message, and this is our action right below. So I'm going to go ahead and say this is the action, and then I'm going to put this is the code to the action. So voila, you have this is our action, this is our code. This is essentially the meat that's running the entire operation right now. And we're going to be working with that quite a bit. So with your label here, if you really wanted to, on the side here, in the side editor, you can edit your label, your text, the color, the font, alignment, and how many lines. You can do like an auto shrink, you can do a background, a tint color, and you have all that with it. And then if you go over another tab right there, you can edit where the location is, the width, the height, stuff like that. Yeah. And then it has all these options just right up here at the top. And then a custom class, you don't usually need that if you're just doing a normal label. But you can add traits such as this is a button and an image or something like that. You can add that in there. And but we're just static text. You can also do play sound, which yeah, you can do keyboard key. I mean, there's a lot that you can do with it. And yeah. So it looks like our file is almost loaded onto the simulator, and I really hope it is because I'm out of there we go. Okay, so every now and then Xcode will randomly generate these error files, and set priority, I have no idea what that is with Swift, but we're just going to ignore that for now. So this hide label, click on it, and the label is hidden. See, would you look at that? The label is gone, and fantastic. You no longer have a label. And we need to get it back, though. We definitely need to get the label back. So how we're going to do that is we're going to drag another button on, and I'll save if and then, or if and else statements for label for later, but we're going to show the label. So we're going to create another action, and we're going to call this show label. I mean, I don't know. Just so we're going to make sure the connection is an action, and yeah, we'll just do, I guess, show. Doesn't matter to me. And we're going to do this the other way of coding and do label1 dot hidden equals true. So now, oh, actually dot false because we don't want it showing. There we go. All right, so now when you do your code, or now when we compile it into the simulator, just like that, it'll build everything into there again, so that way you can have all your settings refreshed, and it'll work. So like I said, this is 2 different ways. We have our code directly inside the action, and with this way, we have it outside of the action. So very simple, very easy, and yeah. And like I said, you can also move this line of code directly up to the view did load, so that on the load, I mean, it's just one of those ways. So alright, hide label, show label. Now if we hit show label, let's see what happens. Well, it's already showing. Nothing happens because there's no other command to go with it. Now if we were using an if and else statement, we could program something so that it would do something, but it's not doing something. So hide show. So that is all I have for this tutorial. In our next tutorial, we're going to build 2 different windows, and we're going to do a web view and kind of get started on our own app. And in the meantime, we have a little bit to talk about before that, but I'll save that for another episode. So thank you for watching. I'm Cameron from Swift Devs.